that a few times. Just a quick question for me, and actually Delegate Morgan might be able to answer it too, I'm not sure. Exciting news about the Great Mills project and the funding for that. And I was looking at the information you all provided, and I don't know state budget and how it's set up and stuff. I was just curious as to the funding source. It looks like it's all federal aid and special, and I was just curious what that means and how secure is the funding and where is it coming from, if that makes sense.
Sure. So the project is fully funded. Nearly every single state highway project, if it's eligible, we take it on a federal track to utilize federal money. Okay. Federal money is a good thing. And on the state funding side, our projects are required to have match funding, and we typically also budget for about 5 to 10% ineligible costs for their various things, like on certain ITS devices, they're not Buy America compliant and the feds won't participate. So inevitably we have some state costs in addition to the match money. In this particular case, how did we get to being able to fully fund it? With the new budget that came out of last session, that we were able to apply the complete streets funding that in the final CTP hadn't been pegged to specific projects. But because this project has dedicated bicycle lanes and sidewalks on both sides, we looked at it and viewed it as a safety project for complete streets and applied that funding to this project.
Okay, so is the funding safe and secure when we go into the next session? Matt's not going to rip it away or anything like that?
Well, Matt wouldn't be ripping it away, and I would say at this point that funding is safe and secure because it's coming from the Fed. This is part of your 18.5%. Or 18.5 cents on every gallon gas that you pay that goes to the federal government. This helped paying for this bridge. And and while I'm on camera here, I'd like to go ahead and publicly thank the Trump administration and Andy Harris for trying to secure some of these funds that were made available. So I think it was a good deal because, I mean, last year during this meeting, the funding was completely stripped out of that project up until 2025. So I'd like to thank those two federal partners there for helping us. My comments were more geared for, I guess, up north where I represent, up in northern St. Mary's. Worked with SHA a lot this year. Last year when we were at this meeting, we talked about building some kind of bridge over Route 6 to extend for the bicycle path there, to try to turn both those lanes going towards La Plata. I'm happy that we didn't do that, and we kind of nixed that plan. The reconfiguration of that stoplight at Route 6 and the reconfiguration of the bike lane there, right past the library, has worked out perfectly. I haven't heard any complaints from any residents, and I can tell you, driving through that intersection, that definitely fixed that intersection. We've been struggling with it for the last 3 or 4 years, ever since it was cut down to one lane going toward La Plata. Putting 2 lanes going back towards La Plata just cleared up that whole path there. Also, the decision not to put a 4-way stoplight at John Knight Drive there, the next stoplight up, we turned that into a Maryland T. That turned out to be a success too. It works out a lot better than a 4-lane stoplight on 3 roads, which is never a good idea, like the preceding light. I will say that I have noticed, though, going through there, especially since that light at John Knight has turned on and the other light has been reconfigured, now the traffic pattern's a little bit differently now. I do know that there's 3 consecutive lights there at John Knight, the next one up there by the Chick-fil-A, and then at
travel lane.
Yeah, and then by Golden Beach Road. All 3 of those stoplights are connected because I drive through that intersection every day. I watch them pull the cabling for it. So I know that working with you guys for so many years on that Route 6 light, that you have a really good way, once you get some data and see the traffic patterns, to optimizing those lights. So, as they've added 2 new lights going through northern St. Mary's, I would just ask if you'd be mindful of that and just continually check back maybe in another couple months as traffic patterns and school has resumed and everything, I'm sure it's a little bit different. But I know you get good data on that. You've been willing to make changes in the past.
I don't think so. I think that you've got our process down pat, and it's as if
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
tuning
I got
into our
really
meeting in
familiar
Calvert
with-
County earlier today. We talked a lot about, traffic signal optimization as well, and I know that our team is always on top of that and willing to always take another look for opportunities to help things keep flowing.
Yeah. Plus,
Definitely, we try to balance out the side streets with the main throughway. Sometimes local jurisdictions ask us to add a little bit more priority to the main line and allow for little impacts on the side streets. We work with you and others on balancing that right.
yeah, and I really appreciate that. I also want to thank you guys for the asphalt overlays on Route 235 up there in North. I have had some complaints from residents, but, I mean, you haven't gotten to the crossovers yet in between the roads. That's something that's going to happen. But the one thing you did that I really liked is you did it at night, because we've done these projects sometimes during the day, and they've really screwed things up for traffic and everything. You went through the extra calls and trouble of doing it at night, and it looks like the contractors did a good job as far as, me driving through it. The road seems smooth, but we appreciate that. Also want to thank you guys for coming out and hanging out here with us so late. I know this is your third stop in the region down here. Final thing from me, do you want to elaborate a little bit on the stoplight that's going to be going in at, was it Route 5 and? is it
242?
Yeah, 242 going to
In
Tropicon?
Morganza.
Yeah, Morganza Turner Road.
Would you mind, Karen, give me a little help? I know you've got a whole list of signals in the region.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stump you at that.
No, I just want to make sure I tell you the latest.
242?
Yeah, y'all put a press release out a couple days ago on that.
242 Route 5, Morganza.
Or maybe not a press release, an email.
I got
Came out to
an email from Kim to Senator Bailey.
Yes. So converting that to a full signal was approved. And I'm just reading my notes here real quick.
Yeah, in short, the feedback that I got was that Senator Bailey had requested frequent updates on the progress. Essentially, our new signal projects typically take 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And that felt long, just intuitively, so he wanted to get regular updates on.
Well, honestly, I think we're probably a year and a half through that process from when we originally talked about it.
Right, so we're still in the early stages of design, working towards construction. Tentative for summer of 2026, that's what we're pushing for.
Summer 26, okay.
Yep,
right.
and then we will be providing regular updates
Okay,
on the
awesome.
schedule if all that
Because
changes.
the biggest concern there are the sightline issues as you're coming down around the church.
Oh, no doubt.
You know,
Yeah, very bad.
Some of the feedback I've received so far, since that's my district also, is no one travels 30 miles an hour, which is the posted speed limit, and that's why we're talking about doing this light here. And once you have those people coming downhill, especially when you're coming from the church, which would be southbound, the sight lines are very short, and I liken it to almost when you come down to Croom Station Road in Prince George's County, and people have asked me about trucks taking off from a dead stop going uphill, and that's no different than Earnshaw, I think it's Earnshaw Road up in Brandywine. Same difference, because I travel up and down 5 to DC every day, and I did get caught up in the night paving operation, which is fine. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of traffic out there, but I do appreciate the fact that it was done. That was done at nighttime also.
Great.
And while I have you up here, Ms. Fiasco, where Three Notch Trail crosses over Route 5, I brought this up before. It's just a flashing yellow light. It's constant flash yellow, and I've asked. I think I suggested before that maybe we could change that flashing yellow to a trail user operated light where they hit a switch and and a red LED starts flashing to let the traffic know on 5 that there's pedestrians or cyclists going to cross the road there.
Okay.
Because that's an intersection there. You become completely desensitized to that flashing yellow, and that puts the trail users at risk. I do believe we have.
Y'all installed some new signs there not too long ago to warn people, but I have seen that on that trail where.
Not enough.
Where a lot of people, we don't have a lot of pedestrian crossways in Southern Maryland, so sometimes people don't stop for people there. And push button light would probably be very, very useful.
Okay, we can definitely look at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice low-cost solution. I think it would be very low cost, because, something that, LEDs don't cost anything, and I don't know if you hardwire or anything, it's not hard to trench it, you wouldn't have to go that far. And it just increases the safety and the visibility of the users of the trail.
Okay.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, those are a balancing act. When our team looks at those from an engineering standpoint, we recognize driver expectancy can kind of get used to the flashing. The flip side of that is a lot of pedestrians, based on research, don't actually push the button, and then it's ineffective from not. So we've done both at different locations, but certainly if this has been there a long-standing, we can look at moving to an
I mean,
APS.
I'm sure the
I
county
can tell
can
you
afford
as
the
a
signage
resident
to
that
put on the
drives around this
trail.
area, we do have a push button on a county road on
Yes.
Mechanicsville Road up there, and everyone stops at that one. So it is a little bit, I mean, it's a little misleading, I guess, because the road is so much narrower than what Route 5 is with the shoulders.
And the speed limit's 30 on Mechanicsville at that spot,
Yeah, at the
too.
very beginning.
Yep.
Delegate Morgan, to go back to what you were asking about the three lights at Sheets, the Golden Beach, 236, and what's the other one? Oh, John Knight, right?
Yeah.
We did reach out to Kim Tran about that, I think the beginning of September, to ask her about the timing of them, because we had some complaints, and she had said they had heard also, and your Office of Traffic and Signals, or Safety Signals,
Safety.
is looking into it, and they're supposed to get back to us. So when I hear back,
mean,
yeah.
My experience working with SHA, I mean, when we changed the lane configuration there for Route 5, I think they changed that stoplight. You had an expert down there one time, and it made it better, but it did, I mean, it went through a lot of changes with different traffic patterns. So I'm sure you guys will get it optimized.
Yeah. I just wanted to let you know that we had reached out, and they said that they were looking into it.
Yeah, yeah. And the configuration on those three stoplights, they are tied together with not only, I think, an optic sensor, but it's pulled there. So those three stoplights can work in session. The one at Route 5 and Route 6 is not connected. That's a little bit of a further path there. So,
Yeah, whether we synchronize signals or not, it's partly based on the spacing.
Right.
They get too far apart, then the platooning doesn't work and the vehicles space out, and then it breaks down. Also, though, if you have like a 5 and 6 that have substantial volumes in both directions, then we're really trying to focus on managing levels of service in each direction, and it makes it hard to focus on one corridor with signalization.
because the big breakthrough was the changing the signal there from Route 5 and Route 6 and on 238, which was the next one down in the southbound lane. And that's really kind of what freed up. But I'm thinking you probably just, like I said at the beginning, you probably just need more data as traffic patterns have changed and stuff like that. But I'm sure in another month or so, you should have it.
We'll definitely take a look at it.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I had three small ones.